Welcome the rare gems. There is a version of you that you have not met yet, and she is stronger than the one you see in the mirror today. Welcome to a topic that goes deeper than personality or surface-level traits. This is about the stage every Sigma female senses inside her, but rarely admits. The final form she knows she is capable of becoming, yet quietly fears because of what it will change in her life. And if you are watching this, it is because a part of you already feels that shift happening within you. You are not a Sigma female by accident. You think for yourself, even when the world pushes the other way. You have a mind that refuses to be pressured, a spirit that does not break easily, and a heart that has survived more than you ever speak about. Your strength did not come from comfort. It came from choosing yourself again and again, in moments when others expected you to fold. This video is here to remind you of what you already know deep down. You are growing into a version of yourself that sees everything clearer, moves with more intention, and refuses to carry what does not belong to her. It may feel heavy at times, but that is because you are stepping into a level of self-awareness that will separate you from people who were never meant to go where you are going. Stay with this video till the end. You will walk away with understanding, clarity, and a renewed sense of power for the journey you are entering. Let's dive into it. The rare gems. Number 1. When she transcends identity altogether. The moment a Sigma female reaches her true final form is not when she becomes more silent or more independent or more detached from the world. It is when the entire idea of being a Sigma no longer fits her. This is the point where she outgrows every label that once helped her understand herself. She stops needing an identity to stand on and becomes something far deeper than any category could ever describe. It happens quietly. She wakes up one day and realizes she no longer thinks of herself as this strong, lone woman who walks her own path. She simply is. Her choices come from a place inside her that is calm and clean. There is no fight to prove anything, no push to stand out, no desire to be understood. She moves with the kind of inner certainty that no word can capture. This clarity is powerful but also uncomfortable, because once she reaches this place there is nothing left to hold on to. No character to play, no familiar story to hide behind. She becomes pure awareness in human form, and that kind of freedom can feel like standing on a cliff with no railing. You can see everything, you understand everything, yet there is nothing to cling to. She fears this stage because it removes all the excuses she used in the past. She cannot blame her scars, she cannot blame her history, she cannot blame her nature. She is fully responsible for who she becomes. That level of responsibility is not something everyone can carry, but the Sigma female can, and that is why she reaches this level in the first place. In this final form, she no longer sees herself through the world's eyes. She sees herself through truth, through awareness, through a deeper knowing that does not care about categories. She becomes the kind of woman who moves through life without wearing a mask, without trying to fit in or stand out. She becomes someone who does not just walk alone, she walks free. Number 2. When she stops seeking meaning. There comes a moment in a Sigma female's journey when she stops chasing meaning the way she used to. It happens slowly at first, like a quiet shift in the air. She notices that every stage of her life keeps repeating the same pattern. She pushes herself, she grows, she learns, she rebuilds, and then she rises again. To the outside world, this looks like strength beyond understanding. To her, it starts to feel strangely familiar, almost predictable. She realizes that the same lessons return in different clothing. The same people show up with different faces. The same emotional storms come back with a new name. And when she sees this cycle clearly, A strange stillness takes over her mind, not the peaceful kind she usually carries. This one is different. It feels like she is watching life happen from a distance. People around her call it wisdom because she does not react the way they expect. She stays calm, she stays quiet, she stays grounded. But deep inside there is a whisper telling her that maybe none of this truly changes. She begins to feel like life is a repeated script, and she already knows all the lines before anyone speaks. This is the stage she secretly fears because it can lead to a soft kind of apathy. Not the loud, dangerous kind that makes someone give up, but the silent version that makes her question the point of everything. She starts asking herself if there is any new meaning left to discover, or if she has already outgrown every phase she used to find important. But here is the truth she eventually learns. The meaning was never in the cycle. It was in her ability to keep choosing herself through every rotation. It was in the courage to stay present even when the story felt familiar. It was in the strength to keep caring even when she felt detached. When she stops seeking meaning outside herself, she finds a deeper meaning inside. And that is when she becomes unstoppable. Number 3. She sees how rare she truly is, and it terrifies her. At some point, the Sigma female realizes she is unlike anyone around her. It is not about pride or thinking she is better than others. It is a quiet, undeniable truth. Very few people will ever truly understand the depths of her mind, the way her intuition moves, or the intensity of her inner world. That realization is powerful, but it comes with a twinge of fear. It terrifies her because understanding is rare, and connection feels fragile when the world is built for conformity. Most people operate in ways that are surface level, predictable, or reactionary. She moves with layers, with clarity, and with insight that few can match. And that means she cannot fully rely on others to see her completely. The loneliness that comes with this awareness is real. She cannot always find a companion who moves at her level, who respects her inner freedom, or who can handle her truth without being overwhelmed. Yet there is freedom in this terror. She is no longer bound by the need to be understood by everyone. She no longer forces herself into molds or masks that others expect her to wear. The rarity of her mind and spirit allows her to operate with autonomy, with precision, and with a quiet confidence that comes only from knowing her own worth. She becomes selective, deliberate, and untouchable in her presence. The loneliness is softened by the understanding that she does not need the masses to validate her. The fear is tempered by the knowledge that she has the strength to exist fully in her own truth. She is a rare force in a world of ordinary rhythms, and recognizing that is both terrifying and profoundly liberating. She learns that being rare is not a curse. It is a sign that she has evolved beyond the ordinary and stepped into a version of herself most people cannot reach. Number 4. When her insight turns against her. There comes a point in a Sigma female's life when her greatest gift quietly becomes her greatest burden. Her insight has always been sharp. She notices the things other people ignore. She picks up on tone, silence, small reactions, tiny changes in energy. She can walk into a room and feel the truth before anyone speaks. She has always lived with this ability. But in her final form, that insight becomes even stronger. And this is where the shift begins. She sees patterns long before other people see the first clue. She can predict the direction of a relationship by observing a single conversation. She can tell who will stay and who will leave by the way someone looks at responsibility. She senses hidden motives before anyone else feels the first warning. And at first, this feels like wisdom. It feels like a blessing. It protects her from heartbreak, betrayal, and emotional traps. But then it starts to work against her. The more she sees, the less she feels. Life starts to lose its element of surprise. The excitement she once felt in discovering new people or new opportunities begins to fade because she already knows the ending. She can sense it. She can map it out in her mind. She can see the same human patterns repeat themselves in a way that becomes predictable. It is like watching a movie when you already know every scene. You still appreciate the acting, you still admire the story, but something inside no longer wakes up. Her insight becomes too sharp, almost too advanced, and the world around her feels slower, smaller, easier to decode. This does not make her arrogant. It makes her tired. She starts to wonder if anything truly new exists for her, if any person can show her something she has not already understood, if any experience can shake her, challenge her, or surprise her in a way that feels alive. But here is the hidden truth she eventually discovers. Insight does not remove excitement. It removes illusions. And once illusions fall away, she learns to create her own meaning, her own joy, and her own spark instead of waiting for the world to provide it. Her insight may turn against her, but she turns it back into power. Number 5. When peace feels too quiet. There is a strange moment in a Sigma female's journey when she finally receives the one thing she thought she always wanted. Peace. No noise, no chaos, no drama, no battles waiting at the corner, just calm. It should feel like relief. It should feel like victory. But instead, it hits her in a way she never expected. The peace feels almost too quiet. She spent years fighting for inner stability. She fought people who underestimated her. She survived relationships that drained her. She rebuilt herself after disappointments that would have broken a softer spirit. Her strength was not built from easy moments. It grew out of pressure, pain, and constant self-reflection. Her identity formed on the battlefield. So when she finally steps into a season where everything is calm, she feels a strange emptiness inside. Not sadness, not depression, just a quiet space that used to be filled with challenges. Her mind is used to being on guard. Her heart is used to being prepared. Her spirit is used to carrying weight. And now, with nothing pulling at her, she feels like a warrior left without a war. Peace forces her to confront a truth she never thought about. She was shaped by the battles she fought. Her fire came from struggle. Her wisdom came from being tested. Her intuition became sharp because she had to survive people who were not always honest. Conflict trained her. Hard times carved her into someone refined. And now she stands in a silent moment where none of that is needed. This is the part she fears, not the peace itself, but the question that comes with it. Who is she when there is nothing left to fight? Who is she when her strength is no longer tested? Who is she when life asks her to rest instead of rise? But here is where her final form begins. She learns that peace is not the absence of growth. It is the space where she builds a new version of herself, a version that does not need war to feel alive, a version that can stand strong even in silence. She learns to embrace calm, not as emptiness, but as evolution. Number 6, when she becomes her own opponent. There comes a stage in a Sigma female's evolution when the outside world no longer challenges her. People do not intimidate her. Expectations do not pressure her. Opinions do not shape her. She has outgrown comparison and competition. No one feels like a rival anymore because she has risen far above the need to prove anything to anyone. That should feel like freedom. But instead it creates an unexpected shift. The only opponent left is herself. Her mind becomes the new battlefield. The Sigma female has always had sharp thoughts, but in her final form they become even sharper. Her ability to see truth becomes so precise that she sometimes cuts herself with the very clarity she once relied on for survival. She becomes hyper-aware of her choices, her patterns, her strengths, and her mistakes. She can sense her own fears before they surface. She can predict her own emotional reactions before they happen. It is like having a mirror that shows her every flaw without mercy. This inner precision is both a gift and a burden. She pushes herself to grow even when there is no need. She questions herself even when she already knows the answer. She challenges her own peace because she is used to living in motion. Quiet moments feel like unfinished business. Rest feels like weakness. She starts to wrestle with her own potential, driving herself to levels of self-analysis that are almost exhausting. She becomes her own rival, not because she wants to win, but because she does not know how to exist without striving. Her brilliance becomes a blade she tries to control, a blade that sometimes cuts too deep. She examines every dream, every thought, every decision with a level of intensity that most people would never understand. But here is the turning point in her journey. The moment she realizes that she is not meant to defeat herself. She is meant to understand herself. She is meant to master her inner world, not fight it. She is meant to guide her mind, not fear it. When she learns this, her own strength becomes an ally instead of an enemy. She stops battling her thoughts and begins to lead them. And that is when she becomes unstoppable. Number 7, when logic outweighs emotion entirely. There comes a stage in a Sigma female's evolution when her mind takes full control. She no longer lets feelings dictate her choices. She does not allow frustration, anger, or desire to cloud her judgment. Instead, she calculates, analyzes, and predicts outcomes with precision that feels almost superhuman. Logic becomes her guide, her shield, and her compass through the world. It keeps her safe, efficient, and nearly untouchable. At first, this shift feels like freedom. Chaos no longer surprises her. Emotional storms cannot throw her off course. She navigates relationships, work, and life with a clarity that leaves others struggling to keep up. She knows what she wants. She knows what works. She knows how to move without being pulled in directions she does not choose. But the price of this clarity is subtle and profound. In exchanging instinct for calculation, she begins to notice something missing. The softness that once made her connections feel alive starts to fade. The laughter that came from vulnerability feels lighter. The warmth of emotional spontaneity seems distant. She begins to wonder if in gaining efficiency and control, she has traded away something essential about being human. Part of her questions whether the power she now carries is worth the cost. She can anticipate outcomes, avoid mistakes, and protect herself from pain. Yet she sometimes misses the messiness that makes life beautiful. There is a quiet longing for moments where feeling ruled and not reason, where mistakes led to unexpected joy, where emotional courage mattered more than strategic thinking. Even in her brilliance, she feels the weight of what logic cannot replace. She sees life clearly, yet the clarity comes with a shadow. The world is navigable, but not always warm. She is powerful, precise, and nearly untouchable, but she occasionally wonders if she has silenced the part of herself that makes connection human. And this tension, this quiet questioning, is part of her evolution. It is the moment she realizes that ultimate clarity is not a final destination, but a delicate balance between mind and heart. Number 8. When she stops being shocked by betrayal. There comes a moment in a Sigma female's journey when betrayal no longer hits her like a storm. People can let her down, lie, manipulate, or abandon her, and the shock that once shook her core simply does not appear. It does not hurt in the same way. It does not feel like a wound. Instead, it feels like something she anticipated, something she has prepared for. something that was, in a quiet way, inevitable. At first, this change feels like protection. She no longer invests in people blindly. She no longer gives her trust away without understanding the consequences. She moves carefully, with awareness, and in doing so she shields herself from disappointment. Her heart remains intact because she no longer expects others to act differently than they are capable of acting. She understands human patterns, motivations, and limits. She knows that loyalty, honesty, and integrity are rarer than people imagine. But the protection comes with a cost. The part of her that once believed in pure trust, in people for their hearts rather than their usefulness, begins to fade. The excitement of discovering someone genuine, of letting someone in without a plan or expectation, becomes scarcer. She feels the quiet erosion of innocence in her relationships. Life becomes safer, yes, but also quieter in ways she did not anticipate. She starts to notice how her tolerance for betrayal has grown, how her anticipation of disappointment keeps her from feeling the sting, and how her expectations shrink with every experience. She no longer cries over lies or manipulations, yet she misses the thrill of absolute faith, the courage of giving herself fully without hesitation. This is a paradox in her evolution. She is stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever, yet she cannot help but feel that something tender has been replaced with caution. The world no longer surprises her, and in that security lies a subtle loneliness that even she cannot ignore. And yet, this stage is necessary. It is part of her transformation into someone who survives, someone who stands firm, and someone who refuses to be broken. Number 9. When she outgrows the human need for validation. Entirely. There is a stage in a Sigma female's evolution that very few people ever reach. It is the moment when she no longer remembers what it feels like to want someone's approval. She does not fight for acceptance. She does not look for recognition. She does not measure her value by how people respond to her. It is not rebellion. It is not pride. It is complete detachment from the emotional system that governs most human behavior. Most people live their lives like merchants. They trade actions for praise. They trade effort for compliments. They trade identity for belonging. But the Sigma female reaches a point where this entire exchange loses meaning. She looks at the world and sees how desperate people are for validation. She watches how they adjust their personality in every room, how they shrink or expand depending on who is watching, how they chase the feeling of being seen even when it costs them their peace. And she realizes she no longer relates to any of it. Approval stops being a reward. Disapproval stops being a threat. Opinions become noise in the background of her life. She becomes someone who moves with her own rhythm, guided by an inner compass that no crowd can touch. This shift is powerful, but confusing to others. People cannot figure her out. She becomes unpredictable in a way that is not chaotic but deeply grounded. She walks into a room and carries a calm force that other people feel before they understand. She is present but unreachable. She is kind but unshakable. She is warm but not influenced by anyone's reactions. The world keeps trying to pull her into familiar games. Who is better? Who is prettier? Who is right? Who is loved the most? She sees those games for what they are: empty, repetitive, designed to keep people small. She outgrows validation the same way a tree outgrows its need for a support beam, not out of defiance, out of maturity. When she reaches this stage, she becomes something rare, a woman who does not bend, a woman who does not perform, a woman who is guided only by truth. She becomes free. Number 10. She stops letting love blind her to disrespect. There comes a stage in a Sigma female's journey when love no longer clouds her judgment. She can feel deeply, care intensely, and connect in ways that touch hearts, but she no longer allows affection to excuse mistreatment. In the past, she may have overlooked small slights, accepted dismissive behavior, or endured inconsideration because her heart wanted to believe in the best of someone. That changes when she reaches this form. At this level, she understands the value of her own dignity more than she desires validation from anyone else. Love does not mean tolerating disrespect. Being kind and compassionate does not require surrendering her standards. She can walk away in a single moment, even from someone she loves, if their actions undermine her sense of self. That choice does not come from anger, pride, or fear. It comes from deep self-knowledge and an unshakable understanding of her worth. This is a rare power. Most people cannot recognize it until it is too late. They assume love will bend her, soften her, or keep her from acting for herself. But she has grown beyond that. Her heart is still capable of warmth, yet it no longer sacrifices her peace. She does not bargain with her soul or negotiate her dignity for the sake of attachment. Reaching this stage is not something that can be taught. It is earned through experience, reflection, and a willingness to face truths others avoid. She knows that walking away from someone who disrespects her is not failure. It is self-preservation, wisdom, and strength in action. At this point, love and respect coexist without compromise. She can love fully, but she will never allow love to blind her to harm. That is a level of self-knowledge and power almost impossible to buy. It is something only lived, tested, and fully understood. In final words, the strongest women are not born from comfort. They are forged in clarity, in truth, and in the quiet courage to face themselves fully. The Sigma female final form is not a destination. It is a journey into the depths of your own mind, your own heart, and your own truth. It is a place where labels no longer matter, where validation is irrelevant, and where your awareness becomes sharper than anyone around you can understand. You reach a level of power that even you may fear, because it demands full ownership of yourself, light, shadow, wisdom, and all. If you are watching this, remember that you are already walking the path of a Sigma female. You notice patterns others miss. You value freedom above conformity. You understand yourself in ways most people never will. These traits are rare, and that rarity is a gift, not a burden. Yes, it can feel lonely at times. Yes, it can feel like no one truly understands your depth. But that is the very essence of being Sigma. You were not made to follow. You were made to navigate your own path, guided by clarity and self-knowledge. Fear is natural. Even you can feel it when you glimpse the full power you are capable of becoming. But that fear is not weakness. It is a signal that you are stepping beyond comfort, beyond the ordinary, and into a version of yourself that can stand fully alone and fully alive. Embrace it, own it. Let the quiet strength inside you guide every choice, every boundary, and every step forward. You do not need permission to exist at this level. You do not need approval to move with this clarity. You are rare, you are powerful, and you are capable of a depth that most people cannot reach. This is the final form of the Sigma female, self-aware, unshakable, and free. You are already on the journey. Keep moving, keep observing, keep evolving, and above all, keep trusting yourself. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you.